Hey guys, welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show. It is Friday afternoon, and so glad you were able to join us, even if you join us in the middle of the night. I mean, who knows? This thing lives there on that, what I call it with my kids, that worldwide internet. Have y'all been on the worldwide internet lately? Well, you can do that 24/7, and we are there. But in this hour, it is a live hour when we record it, and that means that you can call in and join me. So I do want to hear from you. Let me give the number out real quick here at the top. It's 844 940 2774. That's 844 940 2774 to get on the program and we can chat. So it is another week of lockdown, and I hope that's been going well for you. You're setting into some patterns now, so make sure you're examining those patterns and making sure that sort of like have you ever seen like water? When it runs down, when it rains and it runs down the hill and hits a path, you'll start to see it starts to carve out grooves, and then it starts to always run that way. Well, that's how our brains are. Okay. That's why you do something once, well, not a big deal. You do something twice, maybe do something three times. Now we're starting a pattern, and that becomes a routine. And then that gets wired into the brain. And then that becomes something that we now automatically do as part of who we are. And so the big thing we ought to always think about is, am I establishing a pattern in some area of behavior? And if I am, is it the pattern I want to establish? Patterns aren't bad, patterns are necessary. What we want is good patterns, good practices, good routines. And so, as you have changed in this storm, you've changed a lot of the way you structure your life, then patterns are being built, patterns of communication, patterns of connection, patterns of getting things done, a lot of different things. Just be mindful of them. Okay, let me get the number real quick, and then I want to talk about something for a minute or two or three while we're waiting to go to callers. The number 844-940-2774 to call in and let's talk. 844-940-2774 is the number to get on the program. And we have had several different calls lately that had to do with kind of some family of origin issues, like some not in the mix, some still in the mix. And I remember one from day before yesterday, I think, where it was the question of, do I have to, my dad is just really making life terrible for us, and we've tried everything. Do I is it mean to say, don't call me if you're going to yell at me? Where are the rules with adults and family of origin? Also, a lot of it's not current, a lot of it's past. What do we do with past family of origin issues? Are they important? Does it even matter? Well, yeah, it matters a lot. Is it everything to do with the present? No, not at all. Hopefully not. We'd be imprisoned to our past if it were, right? So just want to say just a couple of things. One of the things that reminded me of it is, I think we launched today on boundaries.me a whole new course on or section or path on dealing with family of origin issues. If you're interested in that, you can go to boundaries.me and see what all that's about. You know what? I wish everybody would just come join us on boundaries.me. It's a great, fun learning environment. And you can learn about lots of different things. We have, many courses on there. But come join us at boundaries.me. What we just launched one on family of origin. So basically, I wanted to say a couple of things about this. The you got to get back to the original, like design, how something's supposed to work. right? I've got a bad knee right now. I was supposed to have knee surgery in April. I'm getting a replacement, getting a new knee. Yay. But guess what? COVID canceled my surgery. So I still got a bad one. But here's the deal. When I went to the doctor and I said, Doc, I can't walk. I ended up in the emergency room December because the pain was so bad. I can't walk. What do you do? Well, what the doctor did was he looked at my knee and immediately, virtually, immediately he goes, yeah, this one's gone. You need you need a new knee. And talking to him and he's showing me, and it's very interesting. He's showing me this is how it's supposed to work. And it's not working that way. Now, why do I start with that? Because when you're talking about family of origin issues, it's like a knee. It's designed to work in a certain way. And if we're asking it to do something that it's not designed to do, or if it's broken, out of joint, is missing some parts or pieces, like I don't have any cartilage left, that's not going to work either. But see, to start, the doctor's got a pretty good idea in their head of what this thing's supposed to look like. So when it's off, we know. Well, I want to give you just a couple of things to think about. What's it supposed to look like? All right, here's what it's supposed to look like. A kid is born into this family, okay? And, ideally, they've got, an intact family unit, and mom and dad are there, and this kid comes in, and what happens is, and I tend to think of this, both scientifically from all the literature and the research, and as a psychologist, as well as how does my faith inform this? And by the way, I have never run into, and I don't think there is one. You're not going to run into a situation where those conflict. If something conflicts, either something's wrong with science or something's wrong with the interpretation of the faith. Those are always the same. But you've heard me say this before, one of my favorite faith perspectives on this is in Galatians 4, Paul says that when we were children, we were under guardians and managers. Okay, under. Now there's a one up and one down relationship here. Under guardians and managers. So what does a parent do? Or the guardian or whoever's raising this kid do? First of all, they're above them. I hope so. They know where the food is, right? They know how to call the doctor. They have a lot of expertise in this parent authority role. And so from there, they guard them from basically two things. They guard them from regressing back to an immature state where they should be pushed to go to the next state. It's time to drop the kid off. Tough. See ya. Have fun at kindergarten or first grade. I'm leaving. And you don't let them regress. You guard them from immaturity. The other thing you guard them from, protect them from, is over maturity. I'm 9. I can drive the car. No, you can't. They want to do stuff that belongs to adulthood that they're not ready for. So you guard them in both directions as a parent. And then you manage the process. What does a manager do? Well, they set outcomes and they manage behavior. They hold people accountable. They supply resources. That's management. But then it says until the date set by the father, and this date set for the father, in the Jewish culture, you end up with like a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah. Every culture, anthropology shows, there's some coming of age passage, right? And there's this day where the kid turns around and the parent turns around and they congratulate each other. We're equals now. Now, I might have birthed you, but we're equals. And I'm not your guardian anymore, and I'm not your manager anymore. I'm going to add a third thing to that list. It's not in that passage, but it's in the rest of it. Not only are parents guardians and managers, but they are the source of everything for a child. First of all, they're a source of life. They brought them into the world. But then there's source of food, water, medicine, language, education, experiences, maturity, training, teaching, everything. Money, 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 money. Where's the kid? Money, money, money. All right. That's great. You're the source of that as a parent until you're not. So here's the deal. That's supposed to way it's supposed to happen. Then you get 18 or 22 or so, whatever that number is, probably around psychological, really kind of 20. I like that number for a lot of reasons. And then you're supposed to be your own source, your own guardian, your own manager. Your parent becomes a friend and an advisor, an elder, a wisdom role, maybe an expert in a lot of ways that you turn to, and someone that you honor for life, and someone that you actually have a responsibility to, I believe, take care of as you're hitting your, competency greatest productive years and they're declining. That doesn't make anybody your boss. So that's the way a knee works. Well, you're going to hear a lot of things in life, and you're going to hear callers on the show come in and say, what? They still feel under, and they're 35, 25, 35, 45, 50 years old. They've never taken the governmental reins back. And you'll hear parents that are still trying to be the governor. This kid ought to live in a different state by then. They're not in charge. And then you see parents that are still being the source of everything for an adult. Not good. So let's look at the design, and let's be a culture that believes in adulthood. Be an ambassador for adulthood. What a great concept. That people over 18 are adults. What a concept. Let's get back to it. Okay, this is the Dr. Cloud Show. My number, 844-940-2774. I want to hear from you, 844-940-2774. And you can call to get on the program. We're going to go to Betsy, who's calling us from South Carolina, it looks like. Betsy, gotta love that state because I got a daughter going to college over there in South Carolina. Welcome to the program.
Where's she going to college? Clemson or CSU or College Charleston?
No, I don't know. Now I'm not. Oh, I do know, but I'm not going to tell you which one's the good one. I'm going to make you declare here.
Well, who I like is Charleston Southern.
Charleston Southern. Well, there you go. You're the Charleston Southern.
It's a small Christian college.
Yeah, she is a Clemson girl, and she's turned me into a Clemson fan. At least now, you gotta love that football team. So, anyway, how can I help you today?
Well, Dr. Cloud, I'm stuck, and I'm not exactly sure the right question to ask. I've been stuck for just about 12 years. My grandmother died 12 years ago, and I would have never guessed for me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, she was everything. She was close. I was closer to her than my mother, so she was more of a mother to me. Even though we were distant, she used to get mad at me when I'd call because I was making a phone bill for my mother. I would go there every summer. Of course, she was my mentor. And then...
How old are you?
It was a safe haven. I'm 55.
55. So she died when you were in your early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
And then,
I'm sorry.
and I would never guess myself to be. I would have never guessed myself to be depressed, and I was floundering. And 4 years after that, my husband committed suicide, and I just can't.
I am so sorry.
I can't get traction. I'm not performing, producing, have that high level of drive that I had before. And I want that back, or some semblance of that.
Yeah.
And I've done some things like take up. I'm listening now instead of talking.
Oh, I was just going to ask you. You said you're producing. Are you working? What are you doing? Are you like, what does that mean? You're not producing. Like, what does your life look like right now?
Well, I live with myself, and I own my own business as a coach or speaker, but I'm not really, like, even on social media now, I'm not speaking out. I don't know what's going on there, of why I don't do that. I see people, even like yourself, I've been following you since I saw you many years ago on LeaderCast, and I don't do that. I know it's an option in that I could.
How long have you been stagnant? Kind of feeling stuck?
Almost those 12 years, and definitely the 8 years since my husband died.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let me ask you a few questions. How's your energy level?
I would consider it low compared. I mean, I was a very active person.
How's your mood?
I don't understand that question necessarily.
Do you tend to be down a lot? Would you say you're happy most of the time? Is your mood low? Feel depressed?
I would say even keel, but I do a lot of stuff to keep that going. Like, I have Christian radio on all the time. I read positive books. I follow positive people.
Do you mean you need to fight to keep it up? Or that's just what you do? I mean, your mood is fine, and you just like Christian radio and read positive books. Are you kind of fighting to get out of the hole a little bit? I think one of my daughters just ran in from the outside. It helps you not think. So there's painful thinking.
It helps me not be low, helps my mood not be low. Because when you're coaching somebody, you have to be up, you have to be positive thinking, forward thinking.
Are you coaching people now or not? It sounded like you kind of weren't.
Not as many as I could or would like. Like, I might have 2 or 3 coaching clients. I have 2 or 3 coaching clients, and I would like to have about 12.
Okay, so let me ask a few more questions here. So your mood is down. Is your thinking kind of, you think a lot of negative thoughts a lot?
No.
No, you don't. That's good. Okay. And are you able to concentrate?
Yeah, for short periods of time. I mean, like tuning into your videos and other videos for an hour or 2 at a time and do some training. Yeah. See, it's easier to do that than it is to go out and talk to people or make phone calls.
Can you read a book? Can you sit and read a book for a couple hours?
Absolutely, I do. I have to.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you're watching me right now or just listening, but I've noticed my family just keeps circling through the house. Sorry, I don't mean to distract us here. Okay, so, and your sleep is okay? Your appetite's okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, I go through that whole list because a lot of times when you hear this, and I say this for other people's benefit, a lot of times when people find themselves kind of, stuck and I'm not moving and all of this, a lot of times that can be, depression that's gone into metabolic systems. So, when you look at energy and mood and concentration level and libido and ability to kind of think, and as opposed to a lot of negative thinking, all that kind of stuff, we have to ask the question, is the depression part of this? Now, what you are able to do is you are able to point to a time when everything changed. Okay. And it
Mm-hmm.
changed when you lost two really, really significant figures in your life, right? You basically lost your mother, as you described your grandmother, and you lost your husband. And so I'm going to get you to look at a couple of things. I'm going to ask you to look at a couple of things and be honest with yourself, and maybe sit down with your own counselor or coach or whoever it is you talk to. Don't just kind of believe what you come up with, because sometimes the thinking kind of orders that. But here's the question. I want you to put it before somebody that knows you. Have you really, really, really gone through the grief process? Has there been a structured way in which you've entered into really, really grieving and letting go of either or both of those people? That's a really important question here, because sometimes we have big losses. Sometimes moving on with life actually like further cuts the cord on a letting go. And sometimes we'll just kind of stay where we are because moving on really takes us further into the letting go process, and it brings up a lot of pain. And since you point to these two things as kind of the beginning, I would want you to ask yourself, have you really let go and begun the work of, how do I redefine my life apart from this person or these persons? Do you think you've done that work?
I'm not sure. I would say partially, maybe, because after my husband died, and I'm not a big one to set New Year's resolutions, but after his death, and it was in April, and then so that next following year, and I said, I got a canvas. I get to paint it any way I want. I get to design my life. I'm a designer. I'm a mechanical designer.
Right.
I get to design my life. So in looking at that, I'm thinking, okay, everything I do is I get to choose.
Yeah.
But something's holding me back. And so maybe this grief, like you're saying,
yeah, exactly. What you're describing is not the grief work. That's that next phase I was talking about. So I'd go back and I would really ask myself, who have I wish we had more time to talk further about this and go into, I'm going to give you a couple of different thoughts with this to take with you. But I would ask myself, who did I cry with a lot? Who did I look at, what I've lost in a grief group or in a grief relationship, like a good counselor or whatever, we go through, and all of those feelings get processed over time. And what the relationship meant to us, sometimes there's complicated parts to that, where there's maybe some other feelings, some negative feelings I haven't really ever faced or let go of that I need to get into as well. But also on the big good side, what was it that person provided for me? How did they help structure my life so it worked, that I've lost now and I have to recreate? Because a lot of times in a marriage or even in a parenting relationship, that other person is carrying kind of some functions that we need to develop in ourselves, and it's fine as long as they're there. But when they're gone, we got to look at the hole that leaves, and we have to develop those. So I'd go look at those. My heart goes out to you, in feeling stuck for that long. Sounds like you got a lot of aspirations that are still alive. You wish you had more clients, this and the other. But I would just start with asking, how does that whole process fit into this picture? Have I ever done that grief work? And then I'd give you one more thing. You're a coach. You need a coach. If you're stuck, it's not happening, then only way out of that, we got to get out of that closed circle, and somebody's got to help us get moving. So I would, send you to a therapist or a good coach to get to the next step. Thank you for your call. Our number
Dr. Pratt,
is,
grief group.
Sorry?
A grief group. Find a grief group.
Yeah, I would for sure at least do a grief group and probably a therapist as well, and talk about, I don't know if I've ever really grieved, and process all those relationships, and then we get a plan. So that's where I would start. Now, if there's nothing left there, if you squeeze the sponge, then there's nothing left there. And then it's time to work on the upside and get a coach to add some structure to do all that. I just want you to really examine the grief that may be waiting for you to look at.
Yeah,
This is Dr. Cloud.
I think you're right.
Thank you for I'm sorry, I thought you were gone. Thank you for your call, and hope that goes well. This is the Dr. Cloud Show. 844-940-2774 is our number. And, a lot of times when we find ourselves not going and doing what we want to do and what's next, we got to ask ourselves a question: why? If I want to do this, or I would like to do this, and I really don't particularly like being in this stuck place where I am, but I'm not doing it, many, many times, just deciding that we're going to do it is not going to work any more than a New Year's resolution. There's some sort of reason that we're stuck. If you're trying to get your car going and it's not moving, you might want to look down and see if the brake is on, the parking brake. We got to find out what's keeping me stuck here, what's keeping me parked. And sometimes it's something we need to process and let go of. Sometimes it's something that's needed to go forward that we don't have in the car. Some cars don't go forward because the battery never was installed. Sometimes we can't move forward because there's a missing part that I don't have. And I got to get that from somewhere. So we're either needing to fix something that already is getting in the way from the past, or we need to add something that we need in order to get to the future. There's only two ways to be broken. One is there's a part broken and we need to let go of and get fixed, or there's a part that never was installed. Both of those are valid and true. So we need to ask ourselves, what am I broken here? What part is broken or needs to be shifted in some way? Or maybe I'm missing a part. Maybe that never was installed. I remember I was doing a group one night, and these two ladies were in a conflict, and one of them said, I didn't like it when you did this, and the other said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to, and the other said, yeah, and they're listening, and they're talking about this conflict, and they're working it out. Well, I look over here on the other side of the group, and there's this lady, and she's looking at, literally, she looked like this. I mean, she's looking at him like, sort of like my German Shepherd used to do when she didn't understand something. She'd go turn her head sideways, like, what are you doing? And so I stopped him and I turned to her and I said, what's going on with you? And she pointed to the two women and she said, I've never seen that before. And I said, seen what? She said, that. I said, what are you talking about? She said, she was mad at her and she told her, and then she like listened and then they, she didn't like fight and they're still talking, and now they're like, they're friends. She said, I've never seen that. She said, where I come from, somebody be like, like swinging at somebody by now or up and walked out. She said, I've never seen that. Okay, so why do I say that? Sometimes we haven't had installed in our heads the skills that we need to make life work. She had never had how to have a difficult conversation installed in her software. That program was not there. So how is she expected to do that in life? Think about that. See, all the time, all the time. And I say this, I just want to pronounce over all of you who are blaming yourselves and under guilt and condemnation and shame for a failed relationship or some addiction or some not being able to get a career start or whatever, and you're feeling bad about that. Maybe the equipment never got installed. And you're asking yourself to drive a car down the road and there's no steering wheel. You're not bad for that. Now you're responsible. You're accountable for your life. And if it's not working, who is the philosopher? I should ask Albie on our team. He's the philosopher major. Who was that? One of them, one of the existentialists said, I went out into the midnight sky. I looked up at the sky and I said to the universe, I exist. And the universe said back, and that evokes no sense of responsibility in me. Meaning, yeah, so what are you going to do about it? Well, I look up in the sky and I know God exists. But you know what God says to me and to you? He goes, yeah, and I gave you a life and, you got to steward it. You got to be responsible for it. But he also says something else. He holds us responsible and accountable, not for the guilt and the shame and staying and wallowing in that and beating yourself up. He holds us responsible to how we're going to answer the question, okay, so you're broken. What are you going to do? You're going to reach out for forgiveness and acceptance. You're going to reach out for help. You're going to be responsible for that missing chip and go to the chip store and get one installed, like a good coach, mentor, therapist, friend, buddy, support group, college, workshop. What are you going to do? But please don't blame yourself for what you weren't given that you need in order to make life work. And I love the way Jesus said, he looked out there and he said, it says he had compassion for them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And how many people do we have running around in life? We're talking about family of origin stuff today. How many people do you have running around out there in life, never were parented really, or bad stuff was put in? Remember I said there's two things that can happen. It gets broken, bad stuff gets put into you, or stuff never gets installed. We need healing and we need skills building in order to have a fruitful and successful life. But don't blame yourself. That's my bottom line here. 844-940-2774, where we can talk about not blaming yourself, but taking responsibility. Now, there's an interesting concept. I'm not going to blame and condemn myself, but I am going to be responsible for where I find myself. All right. If a drunk driver comes and hits me when I'm walking across the street, breaks my leg, that's not my fault. But it is my responsibility to go to rehab. I'm the only one that can strengthen that leg back. I'm the only one that can do that. So it's a difference in blame and condemnation versus responsibility. 844-940-2774. Let's see. We are going to talk to Claire from Arkansas, who's got a grown daughter she wants to talk about. Claire, how are you?
Yes, I'm here. I'm good. Love your work and have followed you for years, and I'm just so excited about getting your input on this particular issue.
Well, you got it. Thank you. How can I help?
Okay.
I
My
love your
question is,
accent. I live out here in Beverly Hills where all these people don't even speak English. And I love it when somebody calls in
well,
from the South. That's good.
you gotta love the South.
They don't speak
My,
English. They speak what my daddy used to call it. They've got one of those TV accents, which means they speak like a normal person. They're not Southern, right? It's not English.
right.
So tell me how I can help you.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you my question, and then you can ask me for information you feel like you need. How do we encourage a 24-year-old single, successful, independent daughter who works out of state but is quarantining with us to exercise, eat healthy, and lose back down to a healthy weight from a place of love and affirmation instead of judgment and criticism?
Okay, you said she lives in another state and she's successful and working and thriving in every area of life other than her weight.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's pretty good, right?
Yes, I mean, this is something, absolutely. I mean, and I have a great relationship with her in every area except her weight, which she has battled really since she was a teenager, but she's never been really more than 20 pounds overweight. She stayed within 10 to 20 pounds until this last year, and she started a new job, which she loves, but it's demanding. And she's really on the introverted side. She doesn't like to exercise very much. And she's a big time foodie. So she just loves food. And growing up, when my husband and I would try to encourage, we live healthy lifestyles and are passionate about fitness and exercise and eating healthy and just being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us. With her, that came across as more judgmental and critical, and that we didn't accept her for who she was. But that's
when she was growing up or now? When she was growing up or now?
Well, since she was a teenager, we've always encouraged her to exercise and eat healthy. And because my husband is very driven and passionate and just really into fitness, and I think because of his passion, and he does this with friends and other family members, he doesn't single her out at all, but he's always advocating for people making healthy choices and taking responsibility for their health, and he's a healthcare provider himself.
My question though was she said you said she feels like judged or whatever, and I asked, is that like more now, or that was since she's been a teenager?
I think since she's been a teenager, when it comes to her weight.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you another question. Quick question. You said earlier you have a good relationship with her in all areas except about her weight. Do I understand that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, why in the world would her weight affect not having a good relationship? I'm going to pinpoint that sentence for a moment. Because somehow in your head, the weight changes the relationship in some way.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I mean, we have a good relationship. And yes, and a couple of years ago, she was probably 50 pounds overweight, and she basically just said, I want you to back off of encouraging me to eat healthy and exercise. I am happy with the way I look.
Great. So when was that?
You are
When was that?
a couple of years ago. And
Okay.
since then, I have not brought it up. I mean, when I watch her eat crazy unhealthy stuff, when I watch her pack on the weight, not
Okay.
exercise,
So you hadn't brought
I
it
don't
up.
say a word.
So is that changed? Do you still not say a word?
Right. That's what I'm saying. She's been quarantining with us, so it's like I'm with her every day. Normally she lives out of state. I see her
Right. No,
holidays.
I understand that, but you're not saying a word still?
No.
There have been no
No.
discussions
That's
from
what
you?
she told me. Mm-mm. No.
Neither
no.
your husband
I don't bring
either?
it up.
Your husband either?
Neither my husband.
Oh,
No.
okay.
We don't bring it up at all.
All right. Does she ever talk about her weight or wanting to do anything different, or that
No.
it bothers her or anything? No?
No, she does not.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I don't think you're going to like what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Guess what it is?
That this is her life and her responsibility, and I'm going to have to back off and just let her deal with it, because I can't make somebody or encourage somebody to own something that they're just not going to own.
Yes. Now, that's the first thing I was going to say. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Are we together so far? You still love me? You agree with me there?
Yes. I mean, I totally understand what you're saying. It's just,
well, if you wait,
you know,
I'm
when
totally whoa. I am an open
Okay.
and flexible person. So I am willing to change that opinion. If you can tell me, because what you said, I agree with, that you can't make her do this. But if you can convince me that you can, then I'm totally willing to change. But how are you going to do that?
Well, the reason it's an issue for me is because when I was growing up as a teenager.
Whoa, hold on. No, stop for a second. That's not what I'm asking you. What I'm asking you is, do you know, I mean, it seems like you have tried what y'all have tried. You've talked about this, your husband's encouraging, you've talked about it in the past,
Mm-hmm.
all the way to the point where she said, stop. Okay.
Right.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
now what I'm saying is, have you accepted that reality? Do you agree with me that that's not going to work? Because if you don't, then you got
Well,
another card to play that I don't know about.
no, I mean, I think that's why I'm calling, is because I've just really come to accept that that's the way she wants it, and I've got to respect that. But it's a daily frustration for me to see her get.
Okay. Now I'm going to go to the second thing I was going to say, which is this.
Okay.
Can you, this is where I said you might not like this, but I want you to. Okay.
Okay.
Will you sign off with me on, agree with? Would you agree that now your real issue of the person that you've got to get to change is not her? It's internally, it's you. Because what you're in conflict, okay? You're so wanting her to get with it. I want her to get with it. I don't want her 50 pounds overweight either. I don't want me and my 15 pounds overweight. Right? That's not good. But it's not that you would desire that for her, but can you internally let go of it so it doesn't change your emotional valence towards her?
Well,
Can
I
you,
would
and
say,
said another way, can you accept her like she is and let her make that choice and it not change how you feel about her?
Well, let me say this. I don't feel like I love her any differently than any of my other children.
I agree.
And
I don't think you do either. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I have worked to have the self-control, since she said it was an issue for her that we were always encouraging
by the
that.
way, you do get a gold star. If you haven't said anything in 2 years, you are a rare mother that's able to do that. You do get another gold star for that. So I do think you love her unconditionally, and I think you haven't interfered. What I'm trying,
I mean, she's a great girl.
I know you. I hope my kids at her age are out there working and got a new job and live in another state, thriving, and have and they got this one little area. That's, it's pretty much, 9 out of 10, right? So, I'm on your team here with all that. I think you've done great. I'm just trying to help you feel better every day when you're walking through the kitchen, looking at her load up the PB&J sandwich.
Well, how do I get rid of internal conflict when that is just who I am? I mean, I'm 59, so how do you get to be 59 and value good health and being good stewards?
I didn't say not to value good health. I said you've got to give up the wish to be able to change her or for her to change. That's all. You just got to surrender that.
Well, I think, but how do you not care about the weight of somebody you love? To me, I
said nothing about not caring. I'm talking about this drive and this impulse to feel like, I've got to get her, or she's got to, I'm saying to lay that down because you're powerless. There's nothing you can do that you haven't already done, right? She's well aware of it. It's her issue.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to love her. I just want you to love her like she is. If you go back to, like Joshua's famous statement, remember the one where he said, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord."
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Do you remember what he said right before then?
No.
We don't hear it very often. Here's what he said. If it's disagreeable to you to serve the Lord, then serve whom you will. But as for me and my house, we're going to do it this way. I want you to begin to put your head around that and try to look at her like, you know what? If it's disagreeable to you to care about weight and all that and health and all that, then you got to do it your way. As for me and my house, this is how we do it. And have a very, very, very uninterrupted emotional stance towards her, and maybe silently praying for her or whatever.
Right. I have been praying about this for 2 years.
That's great. But I would just want you to realize that you're going to have the best relationship with her. And here's the kicker. She is probably going to have the best chance at owning this when you disown it. Because there may be a dynamic here where she's still looking for her freedom and autonomy first. We can't be good till we're free to be bad, right? I just want you to let go. Right. You can't have a tug of war if you let go. So let go. All right?
So how do I let go? How do I let go?
Internally, you surrender it. You give it up. Say, it's not my deal. I love her. Let's go play tennis. Let's go watch a movie.
Okay. I'm going to pray that God would just help me every time I have that impulse to be grieved about her lifestyle. I mean, not drugs or alcohol, but just eating and exercise, that he would just take that away from me and help me just not have those feelings of internal conflict.
And
thank you very much.
And he will help like that. But we also have a part, like I was talking to the previous caller about grieving and letting go. We have a letting go as well. So there's your part in it as well. And he will help you and strengthen you to do that. Thank you for your
Okay.
call.
Thank
I know it is
Wow.
it is a tough one, when we love somebody and we want them to do the best thing for them. And what's wrong with them? They're not doing it. Ugh, right, especially when we're parents. I mean, I got two girls. There's a lot of times I go, why don't you do this? It would really work in. What do you say? You say all you can say. See, it's not an either or, people. It's not a giving up. Oh, well, you don't care. Just let them do whatever. No, 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 no. But see, she's done that. She's done that for however many years. What's it been? 8 or 9 years now, she said. And she cares and she models good. I mean, she's done a lot of good things. But at some point, you've done everything you can do, especially with a kid. I'm 25 years old. One day she'll be walking up a hill with a bunch of friends and notice that she's breathing hard and everybody else is, not. And she's going, or she goes to the doctor and the doctor says, your numbers here are not good. Or she reads an article, or who knows what's going to be her wake up call. But if you've already tried to wake somebody up multiple occasions in multiple different ways, then the next step is getting to our own sense of powerlessness and letting go and realize I can't change the other person. They're going to have to make up that mind for themselves. Oh, gosh. Isn't life just so great? Because it's everything. It's conflict, it's hard, it's growth, it's gain, it's loss, it's full. And one of the things that's really important, I think, that we all need to grasp is we can't have a full life, the good stuff, without also embracing and working through the bad stuff, which means some degree of pain. Earlier, we had a call. She wanted to get to her good life, but some bad things that really happened, and maybe couldn't get to the good life without going through the pain and the grief of that the old life was gone. If if I could still had Claire on the phone, I'd be saying, this is the same thing, because there's a grieving that happens sometimes when we want a person to be a certain way or walk their lives in a certain path, and they're not. There's a grieving that goes with that. We have to give the wish. It's like there's a death experience. And I wish they were this way, but they're not. Life's hard, but to hold on and fight against some of the letting go and surrender and pain and grief and all of that many times keeps us from having the good that we can have. One of the places we talk about that a lot is on boundaries.me platform. I want to give a shout out for boundaries.me. Again, go join us there, become a subscriber. You can find out lots more about things we get to talk about only for a moment here. Also, a shout out to all of you. I was on the Facebook platform a little bit last night and a little early this morning, and you guys are awesome. I love how you're talking to each other, supporting each other. So cool. We need you to share the program as well. Some of you are sharing it, and that's how we're going to continue to do this. I think I mentioned, shout out to Greg and Albie and Jessica who make all this work. It's a lot of time technically and around the country for my team, as well as, me and you listening to it. And to make all of that, if it's worth everybody's time, we're going to do it. But to do that, we've got to get the word out, and we have to advertise it. And you're our only way. So please share it with your friends. Okay, this is the Dr. Cloud Show. Thank you for tuning in. I think we have time for one more caller, and we're going to go to Laurie, who's calling us from that big old state of Alaska up there, where they're getting into some very long days here before too long. Laurie, how are you?
Hi, Henry. I'm doing great. It's daylight all the time.
All the time?
Well, not quite yet, but it's still light out late into the night.
Oh my gosh. I'm a golfer, and I can't imagine living in a place where I could play golf until 4 a.m. Talk about heaven.
It's wonderful.
It's amazing. But then it gets a little chilly there later in the year. So I don't know. Maybe I have to live in two places. So tell me how I can help you. You've only got a couple minutes here.
Oh, yeah, I'm at the end here of your show. I will try to make it quick. I'd like some help for me personally, how to stop attracting a narcissist. You have been instrumental in my life over the last 10, 15 years. I ended a 28-year marriage, and then I lost my parents, and very careful about how I dated. And vulnerable, I suppose I was after my parents died, and met an amazing man. And I thought everything was good and played it safe, and then that didn't go well. And when I date, I end up attracting those that really aren't healthy.
Mean? Okay, how does it not go well with an amazing man? And how long did that take?
Well, he wanted to be my rescuer, and he helped me move. He seemed, we prayed all the time. He just seemed really wonderful, but he didn't really have his own opinions, his own. He never wanted to speak up. He was kind of passive, and I wasn't used to that. And
okay, stop. So that was not amazing, right?
Repeat that.
I said that's not amazing. You said you met an amazing man, but then when you start to describe him, yeah, he's helpful, but he doesn't really speak up, doesn't have any opinions, and doesn't. But that's not amazing.
That's true.
So, it went further, right? And then you found out whatever we're going to hear about. But when your question is how do I stop attracting narcissists? I guess he flipped and went totally narcissistic on you. Is that what happened?
Well, he got, I guess, kind of contacted by somebody he used to talk to, and then overnight, he no longer wanted to pursue what he was pushing so hard for with me to convince me that he was going to be for me. It just ended like abruptly.
Right. So when you say pushing so hard, you mean, how is he pushing if he never had an opinion? And I'm a little confused. Sounds kind of passive to me, but you said he's pushing.
Yes.
So how did those go together?
He was getting discouraged with me for not wanting to move in with him and buy a house when we had just met. A little discouraged with me for not.
Okay. All right. I got it. Laurie.
Yeah.
Am I going to have to move up there to Alaska and follow you around and whisper in your ear on your dates?
Maybe.
Maybe.
You already actually do.
Okay, I want you to listen to yourself. I'm gonna pull my hair out here. I don't have any left after my wife chopped it off last weekend in a good way. Thank you very much. COVID was.
Oh, it looks good. It looks good.
I had a helmet going on after 8 weeks. Look, I want you, if you're going to protect yourself, you called and said, how can I stop attracting narcissists? All right. So I don't know. We're going to attract all sorts of people, right? You can't really stop that part. You can stop your side of the Velcro, right? So you have Velcro. It's got two sides. You take Velcro and try to stick it on a wall where you had to put the other side of it. It's just going to fall off. So what you can do is you can get in your side of this and you can begin to open your eyes. And here's the internal work that needs to go on. I want you to open your eyes to allowing negative information to come up on your screen and have some sort of value. And sometimes our needs will stop that from happening. So if I'm really, really hungry, I come in from a trip and I hadn't eaten all day, and I started in New York, and it was 4 a.m. here, and whatever. I missed all the meals, and I had a 7-hour flight, and I landed LAX, and they've lost my luggage, and I'm wandering here at 2 a.m. I'm starving, and everybody's asleep, and I'm going to make a sandwich, and I pull out, and the only piece of cheese we've got for some reason is back in the back of the drawer, and it's so like gross and moldy. I'm hungry.
I know what you're going to say.
I'm hungry.
But I've rejected
whoa,
99 of the 100.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. You're gonna listen to this. So I just I'm gonna kind of ignore that. And a lot of times you can, right? But for whatever reason, I'm so hungry, I'm gonna eat it anyway. All right. I saw it, but I wouldn't let it have the weight it should have because I'm so desiring of my relationship with this cheese. Now, you said you needed rescuing at the time. He came in and he gave you a bunch of cheese. It's great. But there was so much mold on that, even from the beginning. He's pressuring you to move in with them. He's not having any opinions of his own. There's a lot of things here. Why don't you let yourself say, I don't like that? And I'm not going to step further into something that I don't like. Now you can talk.
Well, what I was doing was I was used to being in relationships with overt or more assertive people, and he was less of that. And so
That's
I
a good thing. That's
give
great.
it a chance. And
you did give it a chance, but you said you went way further. That you got to the place, you went far enough to where you were hurt and disappointed.
Correct.
Okay, we're gonna talk again one day. I want you to call me back because we're out of time.
Okay.
But here's what I want you to ask. Here's what I want you to ask yourself. Since I'm not in Alaska following you around on all your dates, going, did you notice the guy doesn't have an opinion? Whispering in your ear, did you notice this is the 4th time he's tried to push you into moving into him with him after you said no? Did you notice that? Since I'm not there to do that, I want that voice to be in your head.
Okay.
Let it have weight. Let it have weight. You will begin to wake up and see narcissism for what it is in its many, many disguises and many, many forms. Sometimes some of the most narcissistic people are helpers because that's how they control people.
I just figured that out.
Yeah. See, we think narcissists are selfish. Absolutely. They're helping out of selfish reasons. A good person, when you say no, they're going to love your no as much as your yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Laurie, call me back. I want to talk to you about this some more. Okay.
Okay. I appreciate your help.
Okay. Have you read our book, Safe People?
Oh, I've been listening and following every single thing you've done for the last 10 years. You were huge
great.
in my life.
So have you read Safe People?
Yes.
Okay. Go back in there.
And I listen to it on Right Now Media every morning.
Oh, cool. Go back in there. Look at the traits of safe and unsafe people. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of these unsafe traits on there. And then I want you to ask yourself, I saw that in him. Why didn't I let it have the weight it should have? And work on that question. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for your call. We are we're actually overtime. How do we do that? I used to do live radio on the New Life program for years and years and years. And live radio, usually I'd be talking to nothing now because top of the hour, boom, they're gone. We're out of time. It's a hard stop. Sometimes you guys are just too much fun, though. You're just too interesting. I sit here and go, our hour's over. Well, what the heck? Let's keep going. And somebody's enabling that bad behavior. So I've got to have some self-control. And I got to say, okay, that's it for today. I got to get moving. Hopefully you have things you got to do too. But I really, really appreciate all of you who have joined in to be part of this community. I'm loving, I'll say it again, how you're supporting each other on Facebook and the other platforms, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you listen. Two things. We need for you to share this program because we don't have any advertising. The only way it's going to stay is if it builds an audience. Said that, saying it again in case you're just tuning in. So if you get all your friends, if you hear a call that applies to them, send it to them or send them the link and share it with people. If we build an audience, we're going to keep doing it. Okay. And then finally, for those of you who want to go deeper and want to go further and learn much more about all the different concepts we talk about here, go to boundaries.me and become a subscriber. There's lots of cool things that happen there. Okay. It's Friday. Have a great weekend. Love the people you love. Love the people that are hard to love. Love everybody in a way that helps them and hopefully doesn't hurt you. Most of all, enjoy each other. Unless there's some real destructive reason that you're really, really worried about. Don't worry about changing somebody this weekend. If they want to be changed and you can help, great. That's what we do here. It's a great thing. But mainly, let's just enjoy each other. That's what relationship really, really, really at the core. It's about loving people and enjoying that love that we share and enjoying the uniqueness of that person that we love, however God made that. Okay. See you guys on Monday. Have a good day. Bye-bye.